Kia ora. My name is Tuariki Delamere. I am the Auckland Central candidate for the Opportunities Party, TOP. I want to talk about why you should vote for TOP, why you should vote for yourself. Let's talk about insanity. What's insanity in politics? Well, in politics, insanity is continuing to do what you've done for decades, for generations, and expecting a positive change, a positive outcome when you do it again. And that's what's been happening in New Zealand. Let's talk about housing tonight. Our housing prices relative to our income are the highest and most distorted in the world. We are just so far out in front of everybody, so far distorted. It's just crazy. And our distorted and insanely high house prices are the result of successive governments, national and Labour, doing the same thing time after time after time. It doesn't work. That's insanity. And those insane house prices are the single biggest contributing factor in New Zealand Aotearoa to poverty, to crime, to bad education outcomes, to bad health outcomes, and on and on and on the list goes. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of graphs that compares New Zealand to the rest of the developed world. They'll be enlightening and shocking. This first graph shows house prices relative to incomes for the OECD, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. We can see from 2000 to 2016, for the OECD, the base index has gone from 100 to 110, yet for New Zealand, it's gone from 100 to 182. Incredibly high house prices for New Zealand relative to income. And in this graph, we're looking at the global house price index for Germany, United States, Canada, Britain, Australia, and New Zealand. And you can see, while New Zealand was increasing through to 2000, it wasn't massively ahead of everybody else. It was still totally unacceptable. But in the last 20 years, under Labour, National Labour, the house price index for New Zealand has just gone off the wall. And in this graph, we can see how the gap between average rents and average wages has steadily increased from about 2002 to 2020. Those graphs are a shocking indictment on successive governments. In 26 years, average wages have risen 120%, while average rents have risen 180%. Wages rising at 4.6% a year, while rents rose almost 7% a year. You would think any government seeing those figures, seeing these graphs, would say, whoa, we better stop what we're doing and change, because continuing to do what we're doing isn't working. What we're just doing is making it worse and worse for those who rent, for those who buy houses. And who are the people renting? Oh, those are the people at the bottom of the economic pile. And what has happened since National came in to power in 2008 through to 2017? Let's look at the average hours the Kiwi wage earner had to work for his or her weekly rent. Under National, let's have a look at the figures. Under National, from 2008 to 2017, the wage income earner had to work from 12.3 hours to 14.1 hours to earn enough money to pay their rent. And Judith Collins says, hey, we need to put National back in power because they've got the economic prowess, the record of running a successful economy. Successful for the rich, perhaps, and the corporates, perhaps, but not for Joe Blow, low-income, middle-income earner. And what about Labour? Under 2017 until now, the average Kiwi wage earner has had to work even harder, longer to pay his weekly rent. Went up from 14.1 hours to 14.7 hours. Jacinda got worse. Labour, you've done nothing to move it down. Jacinda's going around now telling the country, let's keep moving. Well, Jacinda, I can tell you, for me personally, I'm not interested in moving in your direction. I'm not interested at all. These figures, these graphs will probably make voters upset and angry. And they should make voters upset and angry. And what great solution has Labour come up with to help those on the bottom? Well, let's increase the top tax rate to 39% for those earning over $180,000. That'll fix the rich. That will please those on the bottom of the economic pile. That's what Jacinda's doing to please what she claims to be her voting base. But what does it really mean when you increase the top tax rate to 39% for those earning over $180,000? In terms of the overall GDP, means sweet stuff all. Ain't that many earning that much over. But Jacinda, she's sitting, yep, our people. Yeah, that's fantastic. Increase the tax on those rich bastards and don't tax me. How great is that? Well, what really happens when you increase the top tax rate to 39% for those earning over 180,000? They just go buy more houses, thus driving up the price of housing and driving up the price of rentals, making it even more impossible for today's younger generation to ever contemplate owning a home. And if you don't believe me, just look at the next graph. This graph shows the hours worked every week at the average wage to pay the average weekly rent. In 2009, with National, started off at 12.3. When they left office in 2017, it had risen to 14.3 hours. And Labour, you don't get to take any credit. With you, it rose from 14.3 up to today's 14.7 hours per week. And so, in conclusion, the cost of housing, the policies put in place previously by National, Labour, what Labour wants to continue to do, so does National. It is part of the ongoing insanity by both Labour and National to keep implementing policies that have never worked, will never work, and will only serve to hurt the middle and income earners and be of benefit to the already wealthy. It is a tax system that has been deliberately distorted to favour the well-off and penalise those on the bottom of the pile. So why do members of Parliament keep doing this? Why do they keep putting in policies like that that favour people to buy houses? Just look at the next graph and that'll show you the answer. This graph is a 2018 graph from Treasury IRD estimates of the marginal effective tax rate on real return from various types of savings. And you can see very clearly why everyone goes for housing. All the others, 5 of them, is 48% and higher. Owner-occupied housing is about 10% and rental property is about 29%. It's a no-brainer. And this final graph shows the average properties owned per member of Parliament, shown by party. This is for the 2004-2017 Parliament. Yes, that's right, everybody. The reason MPs keep voting through distorted tax systems that favour the buying of houses is quite simple. Those MPs all own houses. National about 3 houses each, the MPs. The Labour Party MPs about 2. New Zealand First about 2. It's in their own self-interest to keep a tax system going that favours the buying of houses. to rent out and get the capital gains. And if you really delve into the figures, you'll find that the cabinet ministers of both National and Labour own the most houses. So no wonder they keep perpetuating the system that rips you, the voter, off. Well, everybody, those are my thoughts on the policies for housing and Labour's solution, their 39% tax rate, what it means to housing. It's designed to keep people poor. It's designed to keep those at the bottom, today's generation, from ever owning a house. That's why I say, vote for yourself, vote for top, vote for change. Time has come.